Chapter 1. I sat in the second row of the fluorescent-lit classroom. Let's talk about progress, Grace said, adjusting her glasses. Mina has dropped from first place to 10th in the final exams today as class president. She needs to set a better example. Parents, please reflect on this at home. The other parents turned. I felt their stares like pinpricks on my skin. Through the glass window in the classroom door, I could see my daughter standing in the hallway. Her shoulders were hunched. Her eyes were fixed on the floor. She had been so proud when she got that class president position at the start of the year. Now she looked like a prisoner waiting for execution. Special mention to Josh, Grace continued, her smile widening. His behavior has improved significantly. Fewer fights this month. Let's give him a round of applause. Josh's mother sat next to me. She puffed out her chest like she had just won an award. Thank you, Miss Grace. My boy's not bad, just energetic. My jaw tightened. Josh was the problem. Everyone knew it. He was the biggest kid in the class, the one who spent his days disrupting lessons and picking on smaller children. He had been Nina's desk partner for 3 months, now 0.3 months of torture that Grace had called a mutual assistance program. Good students sit with struggling students, Grace had explained in the group chat at the start of the semester. It builds character. But Nina's grades weren't the only thing falling. She came home quieter every day. She stopped talking about her friends. She started flinching when I touched her shoulder. And last week, I found her crying in her room with the door locked. What's wrong? I had asked through the wood. Nina, talk to me. Nothing. Just the sound of her muffled sobs. Now, sitting in this classroom with Grace's words still hanging in the air, I made a decision. I was done being patient. Miss Grace, I said, my voice cutting through the murmurs. You promised to change the seating arrangement this week. When will that happen? The room went silent. Grace's smile froze. Excuse me? You announced in the group chat at the start of the semester? I continued, pulling out my phone. 1 month, then new seats. It's been 3 months. So when do we switch? Josh's mother snapped to attention. Why would we change anything? Everything is fine. Everything was fine for her. Her son had a punching bag disguised as a class president. He got to torment someone every day without consequence. Of course, she wanted things to stay the same. The rule applies to everyone, I said. Unless you're saying the rules don't apply to your son. Her face reddened. How dare you? I'm asking the teacher. I turned back to Grace. When do we change seats? Grace's eyes darted around the room. She coughed into her fist. Tomorrow. It's too late today. The children have too many things at their desks. We'll do it tomorrow. I nodded and sat back down, but I didn't believe her. I had seen that look before. It was the look of someone who planned to delay and deflect until everyone forgot. That night, I waited at the door for Nina to come home. She walked through the entrance with her head down, her backpack dragging on the floor. I caught her arm before she could disappear into her room. How was school? She shrugged. Fine. Nina. She tried to pull away, but I held on. What happened today? Her face crumpled. The tears came fast, silent streams down her cheeks. Josh said you embarrassed his mom. He said I had to pay for it. What did he do? She shook her head, but I pulled her into my arms and held her until the words spilled out. He pulled her bra strap during math. He dug through her backpack during lunch and found her emergency sanitary pads. He held them up for everyone to see, laughing. When she ran to the teacher's office, Grace told her she was too busy and that Nina needed to handle these small problems herself. Then Nina showed me her phone, a text message from Josh. 1 soda a day starting Monday, or else. My hands shook. The phone buzzed again. Don't tell anyone, or I'll tell everyone what you used to do. I deleted the app and blocked the number. Nina, go take a shower. I'll handle this. In my bedroom, I opened the parent-teacher group chat and I typed and deleted and typed again. Then I saw it. Grace had posted a photo 10 minutes ago. She was sitting in a fancy restaurant, her manicured hand resting on a designer shopping bag. The caption read, "There's no greater reward than a parent's appreciation." 3 minutes later, Josh's mother posted from the same restaurant. Same lighting, same background, same shopping bag visible in the corner of her frame. I took screenshots. By the time I looked at Grace's post again, it had vanished. I sent Grace a private message. I attached Josh's text messages and described what happened. I waited. 5 minutes. 10. No response. I called. No answer. I called again, and again, and again. Nothing. Nina sat at the dinner table, pushing food around her plate. She had eaten maybe 3 bites. She kept glancing at her phone like she expected it to explode. I took the phone away and told her to focus on her homework. Then I went back to the group chat. At Grace, you promised to change the seating arrangement today. Why didn't it happen? Josh's mother responded within seconds. Some people just don't know when to quit. How many times are you going to bring this up? Until my daughter gets treated fairly. Grace finally appeared. She posted screenshots of my missed calls. I have a private life outside work. Please respect my personal time. Some of us have jobs too, Josh's mother added. But we don't expect the teacher to be available 24/7. I held my phone so tight I thought the screen would crack. She wants us to be grateful her son sits with my daughter, I typed. But my daughter has bruises on her arms and a list of threats in her inbox. The only reason Josh stopped fighting with other kids is because he found an easier target. Stop exaggerating. I have proof. You're ruining the harmony of this class. I laughed out loud. Harmony. There was no harmony. There was a tiger in a sheep pen, and the teacher was busy collecting designer bags. Education is your job, Ms. Grace. My daughter is here to learn, not to be someone else's punching bag. If you can't do your job, say so now. The chat went quiet. For once, the other parents started speaking up. My daughter says Josh pulls her hair too. He threatened my son last month. Miss Grace, why haven't you done anything? Josh's mother typed frantically. Feeny, if you're all so worried, move your kids next to Josh. See how you like it. No one responded to that. Grace sent me a private message. Let's talk in a small group. Just you and Josh's mom. No need to involve everyone. I answered her with one word. Why? Because you're making a scene. What about my daughter's safety? Is that making a scene too? Linda, calm down. Josh is not a bad kid. He just needs guidance. He threatened my daughter with blackmail, and you're defending him. I'm saying we can resolve this privately. Resolve it in public or don't resolve it at all. The chat was still active when Grace finally replied. Phoebe, we'll change the seating tomorrow. I put down my phone and went to check on Nina. She was asleep at her desk, her head resting on an open textbook. Her cheeks were still wet. The next morning, I expected to feel relief. Instead, I got a text from Nina during first period. Mom, she moved me to the back corner, alone. What? Josh and his friends are in front of me and behind me. They're trapping me. How is that fair? She told me I'm not class president anymore. She said since I'm just here to learn, I don't need the responsibility. My stomach dropped. And she said the corner seat will be good for me because I can focus without distractions. The bullies are the distractions, Mom. She put me in the middle of them. I called the school, but Grace had blocked my number. I called the front desk. They said Grace was in class. I called the principal's office. No answer. Nina came home that afternoon looking hollow. She told me Josh and his friends spent the entire day whispering behind her head. They called her a crybaby. They said she got what she deserved. They pushed her desk forward every time she tried to leave her seat for the bathroom. They made me hold it all day, she whispered. I couldn't get out. They blocked the aisle. I drove to the school the next morning. I demanded to speak with Grace. She was in a meeting. I demanded to speak with the principal. He was unavailable. Nina suffered through another week. On the 7th day, I got a call from the school nurse. Your daughter had an accident. What kind of accident? She couldn't get to the bathroom in time. She's very upset. You should come pick her up. I ran to the school. I ran through the hallways. I ran past Grace, who was standing in her classroom doorway with her arms crossed, and I didn't stop. Nina was sitting in the nurse's office with a blanket wrapped around her waist. Her eyes were swollen and red. Her clothes were wet. They videoed it, she said. They're sending it around. I held her until she stopped shaking. Then I made calls. I found a therapist. I filed complaints. I pulled her out of school. Mom, they won, she said on the way home. They broke me. No, baby. They showed you exactly who they are. And now we know exactly what to do. She didn't understand what I meant, but I did. Because while Grace was ignoring my calls and Josh's mother was bragging in the group chat about how bullying is just kids being kids, a transfer letter arrived in my email. I was no longer just a parent. I was the new discipline director at the school. My first official day was 1 week away. And I had a very long memory. Chapter 2. I walked into the staff meeting at 8 sharp. The principal introduced me to everyone. Grace sat in the back row. Her face turned white when she saw me. Welcome, Director Linda, the principal said. Please share your vision. I stood at the podium and looked around. Every teacher avoided my eyes except Grace. She stared at her desk. My focus is discipline and fairness, I said. No exceptions. No favorites. I pulled out a folder. I reviewed last semester's incident reports. Some patterns emerged. Grace's pen dropped. It clicked against the floor. She didn't pick it up. We will restructure all teaching teams, I continued. Effective immediately. I assigned Grace to Group 3. Her new teammates were Margaret and Susan. Margaret was a veteran with 30 years. She demanded perfection and accepted nothing less. Susan was the curriculum head who filed complaints about everyone. Grace needs mentorship, I said. Margaret, you'll lead her group. Margaret nodded. She looked at Grace with cold eyes. I expect detailed lesson plans every Friday. Grace swallowed hard. I'm not sure I can keep up. That's the point, I said. Growth comes from challenge. The meeting ended. Teachers filed out quickly. Grace tried to slip away, but I called her back. Stay a moment, Grace. She turned around. Her smile was forced. Director Linda, this is unexpected. Life is full of surprises, I said, like seating arrangements. Her smile died. I can explain about Nina. Save it for your performance review. I handed her a form. Your first evaluation is in 2 weeks. Make sure your students behave. She took the form with trembling fingers. What about Josh? Josh is my problem now. I smiled. I have special plans for him. After she left, I went to the admin office. I pulled up Josh's file and his new class roster. I assigned him to room 204. His new desk partner would be Mac. Mac was a transfer student from the other school. He had a record of fighting and skipping class, but I knew him well. Last year, he almost got expelled for a brawl that I spent weeks with him. I found out his parents divorced, and he had no outlet that I got him into a taekwondo program. Now he was disciplined and loyal. He listened to me. I called Mac into my office after lunch. You're in a new class, I said. Sit next to Josh. The bully? Mac raised his eyebrow. Watch him. Report everything. Don't let him hurt anyone. Mac grinned. Understood, Director. I also assigned 2 other tough kids to Josh's group. They would surround him from all sides, just like he surrounded Nina. The next day, I watched the classroom feed on my monitor. Grace stood at the board, but her eyes kept darting to the back. Josh was sleeping on his desk. Mac kicked his chair leg hard. Josh jolted awake. What the? Sorry, Mac said loudly. Leg cramp. Grace glared but said nothing. She couldn't punish Mac for an accident. Later, Josh tried to text under his desk. Mac raised his hand. Miss Grace, Josh is using his phone. Grace walked over. She confiscated the device. Josh looked murderous. Give it back, he hissed. Rules are rules, Grace said weakly. Mac leaned close to Josh's ear. I see everything. Don't test me. Josh shrank back. For the first time, he looked scared. At recess, Josh tried to pull a girl's ponytail. Mac grabbed his wrist. He squeezed until Josh winced. Want to spar? Mac asked. I know a dojo. No, Josh said quickly. Then behave. That afternoon, Josh's mother stormed into my office. She slammed her purse on my desk. Who do you think you are? She screamed. My son is being terrorized. Terrorized? I leaned back. By whom? That new kid, Mac. He threatened my Josh. Threatened how? She couldn't answer. She just kept shouting. You're punishing my son for nothing. I opened my laptop. I showed her the video from the hallway. Josh trying to push Mac down the stairs. Mac dodging easily. Josh falling alone. That's her son, I said, attacking a classmate. She paled. He was just playing. Playing? I zoomed in on his face. That's attempted assault. You're twisting everything. Like you twisted my daughter's situation? I shut the laptop. You told me Josh was being helpful when he tormented Nina. Now he's getting the same help. This is different. No, it's exactly the same. She stormed out without another word. Grace came to see me the next day. Her face was haggard. She had dark circles under her eyes. Director, I need help, she said. Margaret is killing me with feedback. Susan filed 2 complaints already. My lesson plans keep getting rejected. Then improve your work. I'm trying, but the standards are impossible. They're the same standards I had. I said, the ones I enforced at my old school. She hesitated. This is about Nina, isn't it? This is about competence. You failed my daughter. You failed every child in your class. I made a mistake. You made a choice. Every day, you chose convenience over justice. She started crying. Real tears this time. What do you want from me? I want you to understand. I handed her a tissue. You didn't just hurt Nina. You taught every kid in that room that bullies win. What can I do now? Start by earning your salary. I pointed to her desk. Fix your lesson plans. Control your classroom. Prove you deserve to be a teacher. She nodded and left. I knew she wouldn't last. Meanwhile, Josh's performance plummeted. Without Nina to torment, he had no outlet. He got bored. He got restless. He got into fights with other kids. Mac reported everything. Josh pushed a boy during lunch. Mac intervened and pinned him down. The principal saw the video. Josh got detention for a week. Josh's mother tried to complain again. This time, I had a stack of evidence. Witness statements, video clips, texts from Josh to other students. Your son has a pattern, I said. He's not the victim. He's the aggressor. You're making this up. Check his phone, I said. The school confiscated it yesterday. We found multiple threats. She grabbed the phone from my desk. She read through the messages. Her face crumbled. Those are just jokes, she whispered. Threats aren't jokes. I took the phone back. We're referring this to the district. She started begging. Please, he's just a kid. He's old enough to know better, and you're old enough to stop enabling him. She left in tears. I watched her go and felt nothing. She had made her bed. That evening, I reviewed Grace's weekly reports. She had written glowing reviews for Josh's behavior. She had downplayed every complaint from other parents. I flagged every inconsistency. I also noticed something interesting. Grace's husband worked in real estate. Josh's father owned a development company. They had overlapping projects. I made a note to investigate further. Matt called me after school. Josh is losing it. He spent all day muttering about revenge. Revenge against who? Me, you, his mom, everyone. Keep watching him. I paused. And don't let him hurt anyone. I won't, Director. That night, Nina called me from my mother's house. She sounded calmer. Mom, I heard Josh got detention. Yes, he did. Does that mean he's punished? He's facing consequences. I smiled. And he's not done yet. Will I have to go back? Not until you're ready. I paused. But when you do, the school will be different. Promise? Promise. I hung up and looked at my notes. Grace's past evaluations showed a pattern. She always favored students from wealthy families. She always brushed aside complaints against them. I had enough for a formal inquiry, but I needed more proof. I needed something solid. I scheduled a meeting with Grace's former principal. He retired last year. He lived in a nearby town. I would visit him this weekend. But first, I had to finish the weekly discipline report. I typed it quickly. I included all the incidents involving Josh and Mac. I added Grace's name in every column. The report went to the district office every Monday. This Monday, it would raise serious questions. I sent it at 5 p.m. Then I waited. Grace called me an hour later. Her voice was shaking. Director, why did you include my name in that report? Because it's accurate. You're targeting me. I'm reporting facts. I leaned back. Unless you want to discuss your decisions privately? Let's talk, she said quickly. Over dinner, Saturday night. I'm Bullies. Please. I'll bring Josh's mom too. We need to clear the air. I pretended to think. Fine. Saturday at 7. Send me the address. She agreed. I hung up and smiled. This was what I wanted. I called my old colleague from the district. He owed me a favor. Can you get me a recording device? I asked. Sure. Small. Discreet. Perfect. I need it by Friday. He laughed. You're up to something. I'm doing my job. I prepared my notes. I listed every question I wanted to ask. Why did Grace protect Josh? What did she receive in return? How long had this been going on? Saturday would reveal everything. Meanwhile, Mac texted me a video. Josh had pushed a girl against the wall. Her name was Emma. She was crying. Josh got caught, Mac wrote. Security saw everything. Good. Send me the footage. I got it immediately. I added it to my file. The file was growing thick. 14 incidents in 2 weeks, all involving Josh, all minimized by Grace. I would present this to the board soon. But first, Saturday dinner. I would walk into that restaurant with my recorder and my questions. Grace had no idea what was coming. She thought we were negotiating. She thought I could be bought. She was wrong. I had been waiting for this moment for years. Not just for Nina, for every child like her. For the little girl I used to be. The one who was ignored, dismissed, told to be quiet. That girl is done being quiet. Saturday night, I put on my best dress. I wore a simple necklace with a hidden microphone. I drove to the restaurant. It was expensive, fancy, the kind of place Grace could only afford with help. She sat at the table with Josh's mother, 2 designer bags on the empty chair. They waved at me like old friends. I smiled and sat down. The recorder started running. "Thank you for coming," Grace said. "We want to make things right." Then start talking. Chapter 3. Saturday night arrived cold and clear. I parked my car 2 blocks away. I walked slowly to the restaurant entrance. The hostess smiled and led me inside. Grace waved from a corner booth. Josh's mother sat beside her nervously. 2 shopping bags rested on the empty chair. I sat down across from them. "Thank you for coming," Grace said. Her voice was too sweet. Josh's mother forced a smile. "We want to make peace," she added. I placed my purse beside me. The recorder was already running. "Peace sounds good," I said. "Let's talk openly tonight." Grace poured me a glass of wine. "I made terrible mistakes," she began. Her eyes were wet and pleading. I should have protected Nina. Josh's mother nodded vigorously. "We both feel horrible now." I took a small sip of wine. "Tell me what really happened." Grace glanced at Josh's mother. They exchanged a nervous look. "I needed support," Grace admitted. "Josh's mother helped me often. She bought me dinners and gifts. I felt obligated to repay her." Josh's mother interrupted quickly. "We just wanted Josh to thrive." Thrive. I raised an eyebrow. At my daughter's expense? Grace winced and looked down. I didn't think it would escalate. I thought Nina could handle it. Nina was strong and responsible. "She was just a child," I said. "A child you sacrifice for favors." Josh's mother shifted in her seat. "We can make it up now." "Name your price," Grace added. "Money? Gifts? Anything you want." I set down my wine glass. "I don't want your bribes." "Then what do you want?" Grace asked. "I want the truth recorded." I tapped my necklace lightly. They both froze instantly. "Is that a microphone?" Grace gasped. I nodded slowly and smiled. "Every word is being saved." Josh's mother lunged for my purse. I grabbed it before she could. "Security will escort you out." Grace started trembling uncontrollably. "You set us up," she whispered. "I gave you a chance," I replied. "You chose to confess everything." Josh's mother began crying loudly. "This will ruin my family." Grace covered her face with both hands. "I'll lose my teaching license." "You should have thought before," I said. I stood up from the booth. "Thank you for the dinner." I walked out without looking back. The cold air hit my face. I drove straight to my office. I downloaded the recording immediately. I listened to every incriminating word. Grace admitting to accepting bribes. Josh's mother confirming the arrangement. Both confessing they knew Nina suffered. I compiled all the evidence together. Old screenshots, texts, and reports. I added the new audio files. Then I wrote my formal complaint. I addressed it to the district board. I attached every piece of proof. I hit send at midnight. The email went to 5 recipients. Superintendent, board members, legal counsel. I waited for the storm to begin. Sunday morning brought no response. Sunday afternoon, Grace called me. Her voice was frantic and shrill. "You destroyed my career," she screamed. "You destroyed my reputation forever." "You did that yourself," I replied. "I just recorded your own words." She started sobbing uncontrollably on the phone. "I have 2 kids at home. I can't lose this job." "Then you shouldn't have taken bribes." She hung up and called again. This time she begged and pleaded. "Please withdraw the complaint," she cried. "I'll do anything you ask." "I can't withdraw truth," I said. "Truth has already been submitted." She screamed and threw the phone. I hung up and blocked her number. Josh's mother called me next. She was weeping and hysterical. "My husband will divorce me," she said. "My children will be humiliated." "You should have thought of that before you bullied my daughter." She threatened to sue me. "Go ahead," I said calmly. "You'll lose in court too." She cursed me and hung up. I felt nothing but cold satisfaction. Monday morning, the district responded. They launched an official investigation. Grace was suspended immediately. Her classroom was locked and sealed. Students were reassigned to other teachers. Josh was moved to a special class. His mother received a formal warning. The school principal called me privately. "Director Linda, this is serious." "Serious and necessary," I said. "The investigation will take weeks. I have more evidence if needed." The principal sighed and agreed. "Your daughter suffered terribly." "Yes, she did," I replied. "And I won't let it happen again." Grace tried to visit the school. Security turned her away promptly. She waited outside the gates. She shouted my name loudly. I watched from my office window. She looked broken and defeated. Josh's mother appeared beside her. They argued furiously in the parking lot. "You dragged me into this," Josh's mother yelled. "You were the one paying me," Grace shot back. Their fight drew a small crowd. I recorded everything from my window. More evidence for the investigation. Later that day, I visited Nina. She was staying with my mother. I told her what happened. "Grace is suspended," I said. "And Josh is being transferred." Nina's eyes widened with surprise. "Really? They're actually punished?" "Yes, baby. Justice is coming." She hugged me tightly and cried. I held her until she stopped. Then I went back to work. The investigation moved quickly now. Witnesses came forward voluntarily. Other parents shared their stories. Margaret and Susan gave statements. Grace's pattern became completely clear. She had favored wealthy families always. She had ignored complaints for years. The board scheduled a formal hearing. They invited me to testify. I prepared my testimony carefully. I included every piece of proof. The hearing was set for Friday. Grace's lawyer called me Tuesday. He offered a settlement deal. Drop the complaint for money. I declined without hesitation. I want public accountability, I said. Not hush money or deals. He warned me about legal costs. Let them come, I replied. I have everything documented perfectly. Wednesday, I received unexpected news. Grace's mother wanted to meet me. She was a retired teacher too. Her name was Constance Williams. She had taught elementary for decades. I remembered that name vaguely. Constance was known for strictness. She had a reputation for harshness. I agreed to meet her Thursday. She came to my office promptly. She was old and silver-haired. Her eyes were cold and judgmental. You're the one destroying my daughter, she said. I'm the one holding her accountable. She made mistakes, but she's young. 35 is not young, I said. She knew exactly what she did. Constance leaned forward aggressively. You don't understand teaching pressures. I understand protecting children, I replied. My daughter was your daughter's victim. I don't care about your daughter, Constance snapped. Care about the law then, I said. I pulled out the recording again. I played Grace's confession aloud. Constance listened with a pale face. That could be edited, she claimed. It's unedited and verified, I countered. Constance stood up angrily. You'll regret this, Director. I regret nothing, I said calmly. She stormed out of my office, but she left her purse behind. I called security to return it. Security found something interesting inside. A letter from a former student. The student had accused Constance of abuse. The complaint was never investigated. I made a copy immediately. I added it to my file. Now I had both mother and daughter. 2 generations of abusive teaching. I knew what I had to do. I would report Constance too. Her retirement benefits could be revoked. Her teaching license could be canceled. She had hurt many children. I was just one of them. Suddenly, she called me back. Her voice was shaking now. Please don't look into my past. Your past is already uncovered, I said. What do you know? She demanded. Enough to destroy your legacy. She begged and pleaded desperately. You can't do this to me. I'm old and retired already. Old doesn't mean innocent, I said. I'll leave your daughter alone. Only if you confess publicly. She paused for a long moment. Confess to what? She asked. To every child you mistreated. She started crying on the phone. I was just strict, she said. Strict is not abusive, I replied. But you crossed that line often. She admitted nothing but wept. I ended the call firmly. I had more than enough evidence. The hearing proceeded on Friday. Grace attended with her lawyer. Constance sat in the audience. I presented my case thoroughly. Audio recordings, documents, witness statements. Grace's lawyer had no rebuttal. The board deliberated for hours. Then they delivered their verdict. Grace was terminated immediately. Her teaching license was revoked. She could never teach again. Constance's honors were also stripped. Her retirement awards were rescinded. Both women were publicly disgraced. Josh's family received similar punishment. His parents were warned formally. Josh was expelled from district. He had to attend alternative school. His mother cried in the hallway. I walked past without stopping. I felt no pity whatsoever. Nina watched the news coverage. She smiled for the first time. Mom, they finally paid. Yes, baby. Justice is real. And I can go back? Only when you're ready. She nodded and hugged me tightly. I'm almost ready now. Good. Take your time, I said. The school environment improved drastically. Students felt safer and happier. Teachers became more accountable. I continued monitoring everything carefully. But I knew the battle wasn't over. Grace and Constance would retaliate somehow. I needed to stay vigilant. That evening, I got a call. It was from an anonymous number. Watch your back, a voice said. Then the line went dead. I saved the number anyway. I increased security at school. I updated my personal safety plan. Nina asked me why I looked worried. Nothing to worry about, I lied. She didn't believe me at all. Mom, tell me the truth. Some people are angry, I admitted. Angry because you stopped them? Yes, but I can handle them. Promise me you'll be careful. I promise, my love, I said. But even I wasn't sure. The next morning I arrived early. I found a strange envelope on my desk. Inside was a single photograph. It showed Nina at her therapy office. Someone had been following her. My blood turned ice cold. I called the police immediately. I filed a formal harassment report. I hired a private investigator too. I would not let them win. Not after everything we fought for. Not when we were so close. I drove to Nina's therapy session. I stayed with her the whole day. I didn't let her out of sight. Grace had been arrested for stalking. Constance was questioned by police. Both denied any involvement. But I knew the truth. They were trying to scare me. It wouldn't work anymore. I had survived worse things. I had survived being invisible. I had survived being powerless. Now I had all the power. And I would use it wisely. The investigation continued for weeks. More victims came forward against Grace. Former students shared their traumas. The case grew larger than expected. Grace faced potential jail time. Constance faced civil lawsuits too. Both families were financially ruined. Josh's parents declared bankruptcy. They sold their house and cars. Josh ended up in foster care. His mother disappeared from town. No one knew where she went. Grace's husband divorced her immediately. She moved to another state. She couldn't find any work. Her teaching career was completely over. Constance lost her retirement home. She moved into a small apartment. She lived alone and miserable. I felt a grim satisfaction. But I didn't celebrate openly. This wasn't about revenge anymore. This was about protecting others. I created new school policies. Anti-bullying measures were strictly enforced. Anonymous reporting channels were established. Teacher evaluations became more rigorous. Parental complaints were investigated promptly. The school became a model district. Other schools copied our policies. I became a local hero. Parents thanked me constantly. Teachers respected my authority. Students felt safe and valued. Nina finally returned to school. She walked through the gates proudly. Her classmates welcomed her back. She made new friends easily. Her grades improved steadily again. She even ran for class president. This time, she won overwhelmingly. I watched her victory speech. My eyes filled with tears. She's so strong, my mother said. She learned from her mother, I replied. Mina looked at me and waved. I waved back with a huge smile. That night, we celebrated together. We ordered pizza and watched movies. Mina fell asleep on my lap. I stroked her hair gently. She was finally at peace. I was finally at peace too. But I never forgot the lesson. Power must always be used carefully. And justice must be served. Always. Chapter 4. The school settled into a new rhythm. Teachers followed every rule strictly. Students reported bullying without fear. I watched the hallways every day. Nina attended classes without trouble. Her confidence grew back slowly. She smiled more and more often. Then Josh returned to our district. His alternative school had expelled him. His mother begged for readmission. I denied her request immediately. She can appeal to the board, I said. But she had no grounds left. Her family's reputation was ruined. Her husband had left her completely. She blamed me for everything. Josh blamed me even more. I received threatening letters weekly. I reported each one to police. They couldn't trace the source. I hired extra security guards. Nina noticed the increased presence. Mom, are we in danger? No, baby, just precautions. She accepted my answer reluctantly. But I knew better than her. Josh was planning something dangerous. Mac reported suspicious behavior daily. Josh keeps asking about your schedule. He watches the school gates. He talks about revenge constantly. I thanked Mac for his loyalty. I adjusted my arrival times randomly. I varied my parking spots daily. I never walked alone after dark. 2 weeks passed without incident. Then Friday afternoon arrived normally. I stayed late to finish paperwork. My office door was locked. I heard footsteps in the hallway. I looked through the peephole carefully. Josh stood there with a crowbar. His eyes were wild and desperate. I called security silently on my phone. Then I opened the door suddenly. Josh stumbled backward in surprise. Looking for me? I asked calmly. He raised the crowbar threateningly. You ruined my family, he yelled. Your family ruined themselves, I replied. He swung the crowbar at me. I ducked and grabbed his wrist. Security arrived and tackled him. He screamed and fought violently. The police came within minutes. Josh was arrested on the spot. Assault with a deadly weapon. He was 17, almost adult. They charged him as an adult. His mother arrived at the station. She wept and blamed me again. My son is just a child. Children don't carry crowbars, I said. She slapped me across the face. I pressed charges against her too. Assault on a school official. The police detained her immediately. Josh faced serious jail time. His mother faced fines and probation. Both were released on bail. But they violated their conditions. They came to my house at night. They threw rocks through my windows. The police caught them again. This time, they went to jail. Mina was terrified and shaken. What if they come back? They won't, I promised her. I installed a security system. I got a restraining order too. The court granted everything quickly. Josh's mother finally understood defeat. She wrote me a long letter. She apologized for everything she'd done. She admitted her parenting had failed. She begged for one more chance. I read the letter carefully. I felt nothing but coldness. Apologies don't erase suffering. She should have stopped him earlier. I didn't respond to her letter. I forwarded it to the court. The judge considered it during sentencing. Josh received 2 years detention. His mother received community service. Both were ordered into therapy. I attended every court hearing. I testified against them thoroughly. The judge thanked me for my courage. You protected this community, he said. Thank you, Your Honor, I replied. Nina watched the news coverage. She asked if Josh would return. Not for a long time, I said. She nodded and looked relieved. I held her tight that night. Meanwhile, Grace's case progressed further. She had violated her probation. She contacted Nina through social media. She sent threatening direct messages. I reported everything immediately. Grace was arrested again promptly. Her bail was revoked permanently. She remained in jail until trial. Constance tried to intervene again. She contacted the district board. She claimed I had fabricated evidence, but the recordings proved otherwise. The board dismissed her complaints. They even investigated her further. More victims came forward against her. The original abuse cases resurfaced. Constance faced multiple civil suits. Her retirement funds were frozen. She couldn't afford a lawyer. She had to represent herself. She lost every single case. Her reputation was completely destroyed. She moved to a different state. No one knew where she went. Grace's trial finally began. The prosecution had overwhelming evidence. Audio recordings, texts, and witness statements. Her defense had no arguments left. She pleaded guilty to everything: bribery, negligence, and harassment. The judge sentenced her harshly: 5 years in state prison. Her teaching license was permanently revoked. She would never teach again. I watched her being led away. She looked broken and defeated. I felt no satisfaction anymore, just a quiet sense of justice. It was finally truly over. The school board honored me publicly. They gave me a special award. "Director Linda, you saved us." "I just did my duty," I said. But inside, I felt proud. Mina was proud of me too. She wrote an essay about me. "My mother is my hero." She read it aloud in class. Everyone applauded her bravery. She was no longer the victim. She was now a survivor. Her grades reached the top again. She became class president once more. This time, she had real power. She started an anti-bullying club. Students joined in large numbers. They created anonymous support systems. They helped victims speak out. The school culture transformed completely. Teachers followed the new policies. Incidents dropped to near zero. Parents praised the new environment. Other districts copied our model. I was invited to speak nationwide. I gave talks at education conferences. I shared our success story widely. "Mina's courage inspired everything," I said. "She taught me to fight back." The audience applauded and cheered. They asked for a detailed plan. I provided templates and resources. We became a national example. But I never forgot the journey. The late nights and endless paperwork. The threats and the harassment. The fear of losing my daughter. All of it was worth it. Mina graduated elementary with honors. She received awards for leadership. Ceremony. She hugged me tightly afterward. "Thank you, Mom," she whispered. "Thank you for not giving up." "I never will," I promised her. We celebrated